Hey, what's going on, everybody? Andrew here, back for our build review show. It is Thursday, November 7th of 2024. And on this show, I bring users' builds up live on stream, giving them personalized feedback and advice about things that I think that they can do differently in their builds to help improve their post-contest sim ROIs and ultimately build and submit stronger lineups into their contests. So we do this show twice a week, typically beginning of the week and end of the week on Mondays and Fridays, but not going to be able to do the show tomorrow. So wanted to do it today on this Thursday here. But if you ever want to get signed up for one of our two shows, all you got to do is drop your DK username in the office hours channel in our Discord server, and I will add you to the list for the next show. But with that said, let's jump right in here. We had two people sign up for the show throughout the week here, and we are going to start with some Monday Night Football Showdown review for M. Warman 22. So got their build pulled up here. Let's start in the contest tab as always. And let's see what they're playing. So contest selection looks pretty good, right? Starting from the ground up. One thing I would say is, don't ignore the dime time and the quarter jukebox contest just because they're a little bit smaller. Like, seems like you do have access to those contests, and I would still play them, right? If you have access to them, you should be playing them because you won't have access to those contests forever, and you want to take advantage of them while you can. So I've talked to top pros, and they've said, like, yeah, when I had access to lower stakes contests, my ROI in those contests was like closer to like 30%. And now that they don't have access to those contests and they can only play higher stakes, their ROIs are like closer to like 10%, right? So don't want to ignore them. Want to get all of that good action in while you can. But aside from that, I think your contest selection is fine. Notice that you're entering less than the maximum in a couple of contests, right? Also totally cool thing to do. So let's pull up this 22 entries in the flea flicker. This might be a good contest to review. So let's hop over to users. And Warman, our guy. So when I do these reviews, right, and when I review my own lineups, right, if I'm entering less than the maximum, I always set entries greater than or equal to the number of lineups that I have because I want to see players who entered the same or more lineups than I did. So that's what I would do there, right? Now, beyond that, right, what I would do here, wow, it's a pretty good day for SaberSim users on Monday here, right? So this flea flicker, two of the top sim ROIers are SaberSim users for sure, Giant Squid and Crafty Lefty. So 39% sim ROI for Squid, 28% for Crafty Lefty. Both looks like they chopped this with a couple other users in this contest. Don't know how many ways it was chopped, but it was a good day for them overall. So super cool to see. All right. With that said, M. Warman, negative 34% sim ROI here. So definitely some room for improvement. We will figure out what is going on and how we can help them improve. So notice that their average salary is like really, really low, a lot lower than some of the other top sim ROI sets in this contest. Typically, that means that they are sacrificing a lot of projection to get to such like a low average salary. So we'll figure out what's going on there. Another thing I noticed that they have a bunch of builds, right? And then they have all these lineups in the favorites. So from my perspective, it looks like they are building different types of lineups with different rules or whatever you may have it, game scripts, and then favoriting them all and then filling their lineups from there. What else do we see? We see a good average dupes number, right? Nice and low. Uniqueness looks fine. So their lineups are probably the closest to somebody like Shady's here, where Shady has like 4 average dupes, Warman has 3, and then Shady's average projection is 87.3 and theirs is 85.5, right? So to me, my impression here is that they are just sacrificing a little too much projection to get to these lineups, and they might not want to do that. So let's go into the favorites tab. We never really reviewed somebody from the favorites before. Actually, you know what? This isn't going to help us a bunch. So we're going to have to pick some of these builds to go through. I'm going to go from like last timestamp to first, and we'll just like see what's going on here. So in one of these, they're sorting by 95th percentile with a very high minimum salary at 49.7. Not seeing any filters or rules. Seeing a lot of capped exposures and a very high Baker Mayfield minimum exposure. Okay, let's go to the next build. So next build, salary ranges change, right? From 49.7 to 50,000 down to 48.9 to 49.5. Again, sorting by 95th percentile here. No filters, no rules. C minimax exposures again for captains. I find it pretty interesting that they're targeting different captains at different salary ranges. Not something I've seen before. Like, oh, I want to play Baker in 49.7 to 50K salaries, and then I want to play Mahomes in like 48.9 to 49.5 salaries. So that's kind of interesting approach. So it looks like they're just like scaling down here, right? They're like, okay, I want so many lineups in this salary range. I want so many lineups in that salary range, so many lineups in that salary range. It is effectively what it looks like they're doing. And then they're being very particular about what captain is going into what salary band. And we see this all the way down the list. We see all the way to 45-4 to 47. We see 43-2 to 45-1. And then what's the last one we see? 38-4 to 42-2. Wow. This is really, really low. And then they're still forcing like Mahomes stacks at this band. So it's hard to give feedback when I don't know why they're doing this. You know, it is a very different approach to building showdown lineups. Now, I think what I want to do is I actually want to go and look at how all their lineups did across all their contests, because that's really what's going to tell you, like, hey, is this actually worth doing, right? Like, we just looked at a subset, right? We looked at 22 lineups, and they played 223, right? So we looked at like 10% of their lineups. You know, I kind of want to see, like, hey, did they ever grade out well in any of the contests that they played? And if the answer is yes, then okay. You know, it's fine to keep doing what you're doing for whatever reason, right? But if they're grading out poorly in every single contest, then I think it's time to change up the strategy and go with something different, right? So, and I effectively do this like for myself, right? Like I'll play one contest in all the showdowns, right? And then I'll look at my ROI across all of them and just kind of track them on pen and paper, right? So like the first contest was negative 34%. This second contest is negative 35%. Okay. This was the first down. We looked at the flea flicker. Let me try and pull up the mini max. This one might take a little bit longer to load. Okay, cool. This one, negative 33% sim ROI. So these are all kind of coming in like the same range, but we'll do all of them. Oh, I hope the play action loads. Let's give this a chance. All right. Negative 24%. And then the last one, which is their smallest number of entries. So for me, it's probably not going to move the needle very much. Last one, negative 50%. So we've went and looked at 5 different contests that they played. And with this strategy, they came in at negative 25% sim ROI or worse. That tells me like, hey, we took a shot with this strategy. It is okay. But I think we need to go back to the drawing board. And I really would recommend, basically scrapping it and doing something totally different, right? And if you don't know where to start, I would start with our Master of the Art of NFL DFS video. I believe you can find it in the How to Beat section. So you go to Saber School, you go to How to Beat DFS, go to this Master of the Art of NFL DFS Showdown. 1 second. Excuse me. And think about starting your showdown process from the ground up. Maybe something else to consider is not using 95th percentile, right? Switching back to Saber Score could be another good thing to do there. So I think that, that salary band strategy just probably not working out really good. And I would, try something different moving forward. But that's the best advice I got for you there. So happy to bounce any ideas or let you bounce any ideas that you have off of me and kind of go from there. But I think that about wraps up that review. All right, moving on. Next one up is going to be Jim here, and we're going to be studying Jim's NBA lineups from Monday, November 4th. So let's get Jim up on the screen. Let's hop back to Monday's NBA slate. We had a big slate on Monday, right? Monday was the day where games were starting like 15 minutes apart, and there was like a ton going on before the break on Tuesday. So should be a pretty interesting slate to review, all things considered. So let's get that up here. And give me 1 second. Oh, that's why. All right. All right. All right, here we go. Getting this up on the screen. So good thing, right? They have a build and then they have a swap. It looks like they use the one swap build throughout the night here. That's what we always recommend, right? You can use the same swap build over and over again. So that's really good. Looks like they have some good ROIs toward the end of the night and like some of their final swaps. So they maybe had a good night here. All right. So what do we see? So we see good contest selection, right? We see some single entries. We see some 3 maxes. I'm sorry. We see some single entries. We see some 20 maxes. We see less than the maximum number of lineups in a number of contests, which is totally cool. So I like this contest selection a lot better. Now, let's review. Let's do the quarter jukebox. They had the most lineups in that contest. Yeah, that one should be fine. All right, let's hop over to users. Jim, 20 lineups, sim ROI. So this is great. Jim is the second highest sim ROIer in this contest, which is super, super cool to see, right? Low number of average dupes, pretty good sim average score to balance that out. This is great, right? I do want to also check out their 4-point play since they had like a similar number of entries here. So let's check this one out. All right. Again, we're going to do less than the max, so greater than or equal to 18 sim ROI. Again, top 5 sim ROI are here, right? 3 average dupes, high sim average score. I'm assuming they had like one process that was just building really, really strong lineups, and it carried over into all of their contests. So really good stuff from Jim here. Let's jump into his build and see what he was doing. All right. So we see 5K lineups. We see 48K, 50K, minimax salary, no filters, no rules. We see target ROI. We see 2 lineup filters. What do we got? Projection greater than 270. So filtering out some lineups into the trash here. That looks great. ROI greater than 0. Again, really strong. These are things that we talk about regularly. No minimax exposures in the all tab. Pretty hands off there. Nothing in the team stacks, game stack exposures. 2 minor adjustments to projections. This is a great process, right? This is a very lean process. He's doing a ton of late swaps throughout the night. You could tell because the last late swap was at 5:32 p.m. and the last game locked at 5:45 p.m. my time. So that means that, they're in there doing swaps, and just having a process that they can actually throughout the year. And if you have a process where you can, accommodate that, that's great. So I don't really have anything else to say. Jim did awesome. We saw him top 5 sim ROI in the 2 contests we checked out. Checked out his process. Looks great. Keep up the good work, Jim. And I think you will get rewarded for your process here. So good stuff. But those were our 2 people who signed up today. Reminder, if anybody wants to sign up for Monday's show, all you need to do is drop your DK username in the office hours channel. Let me know the sport and slate you want me to review, and I will add you to the list for that show. But appreciate everybody tuning in. Good luck this weekend in your DFS contest. Reminder, no more shows the rest of the week. I'll be back on Monday. So until then, take care. Good luck. Thanks. Bye.